Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a book review on Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh. Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh takes place in 1930s England and tells the story of Charles Ryder, a young man who quickly becomes enamored by the wealthy and eccentric Flight family who live in an old family home called Brideshead. Well, you guys, I hate to say this, but I found Brideshead Revisited very disappointing, and it breaks my heart to say that, because I've been really looking forward to reading this book and picking it up and seeing what everyone else sees about it, because I've heard so much positive praise about this book, and yeah, because of others highly praising this book, I was like, man, I gotta pick this up, but I was so disappointed, and I'm not sure what my problem is. I don't know if some of the material kind of just flew over my head and I just didn't get it, or if I felt some of this book was really dated and no longer relevant, perhaps. The thing is, I found myself pretty bored throughout this entire book. I think the beginning started promising, and then I think there were a few bits in the middle, and then the ending maybe, I don't even know. But the thing is, I didn't care for any of these characters. I found them all really annoying and frustrating. I just didn't get them. And I didn't even care for the situations they were in. And is it just me? Nothing happens in this book. Seriously, I walked away from this book trying to make a mental synopsis of the book, and I was like, nothing happened in this book for me to come up with like a lengthy synopsis. Just page after page of spoiled, whiny, rich people discussing the nostalgia of a vanishing era and also talking about their religious dilemmas. Like I said, I think this book started off with a lot of potential because I was immediately dragged into the story, because the story opens up in 1944 with the main character, Charles Ryder, and he's like in the military. He and his fellow soldiers, they happen to come across Brideshead, and this in turn is what starts him to tell his story, and then that's when we go into flashback mode and we go back into the 1930s prior to the war starting. And we also learn how it is he first meets the Flight family. So I did find myself in love with the first 50 pages or so, but then after that, nothing significant was really happening or occurring. And like I said earlier, I just quickly found myself very uninterested in these characters and their problems. The thing is, I did find Sebastian Flight, who becomes a friend of Charles Ryder. I did find Sebastian Flight quite interesting. He was probably the only interesting character in this whole damn book, in my opinion. But then, yeah, the direction his character kind of goes, he's in like the first half of the book, and then he kind of vanishes from the second half, and it's like, well, he was the whole reason I was continuing to read. And I think what my biggest problem with this book was like the pages of endless dialogue, but not like back and forth dialogue between multiple characters, like dialogue from one character and Charles Ryder just listening to the dialogue. And it's like, I felt like Charles Ryder as a character, he didn't seem very proactive at all. He just was always there listening to people, but never really giving anything in return as a character, if that makes sense. So I guess that might be what my problem is ultimately with this book. The book suffered from telling me the story rather than showing me the story. You know what I mean? That whole thing of show, don't tell. So yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted the story to show me action. Don't tell me about the action. Don't have a character with endless pages of a speech talking to Charles about an event and Charles just sitting there listening, you know what I mean? So yeah, even though I did have a huge problem with just the overall structure of the book, the thing is I really liked the themes discussed in the book, weirdly enough. because the book deals with the concept of nostalgia. Like I said in the plot summary, this book, it takes place in the 1930s, right before World War II starts, and kind of like Downton Abbey. If you happen to love Downton Abbey, for instance, you know, the last couple seasons of Downton Abbey were exploring this concept of nostalgia for a vanishing era. And that's exactly what Brideshead Revisited is exploring. All these characters realizing that the past is slowly slipping away from them and they're missing the good old days. So what we have here, we have the Flight family basically representing and symbolizing the crumbling English nobility of the time. And I just want to read a line of dialogue because one of the other main characters in this book, Julia Flight, she has this great line near the end of the book where she says, "Sometimes I feel the past and the future pressing so hard on either side that there's no room for the present at all." And I really feel like that just wraps up and symbolizes everything going on in this book and that particular theme of the nostalgia of a vanishing era. And that's what you have with a lot of these characters. You have these characters who are having a hard time accepting this new world that is quickly approaching upon them. Characters who are still stuck in the past, stuck with tradition. And they still continue to have these lavish lifestyles and these lavish parties. And then as far as another theme goes that was present in this book, I also liked the discussions on Catholicism. Even though it was interesting, sometimes I feel like it was very heavy-handed, if that makes sense. So yeah, you guys, overall I was pretty disappointed with this book. I think I overhyped it for myself, perhaps. Just very uninteresting characters. I didn't care about their whiny, spoiled, rich lives and their problems. Just so many horribly uninteresting things going on. But like I said, I did like the themes present. I liked the idea of talking about nostalgia for a vanishing era and the Catholicism discussions going on, but yeah, that was pretty much it for me. So yeah, in the comments below, have you guys read Brideshead Revisited? Did you like it? Did you dislike it like me? If you did like Brideshead Revisited, please share with me your thoughts on it. Maybe you picked up on something I just didn't pick up on. I don't know. So that's it for this book review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this book review, you may like these other book reviews. Bye guys.